All right. So, this season has been out for 11 days now, and I've put a fair amount of time into it so far, mainly for the new hero, but also to check out all the other stuff Yubi threw into this update. So, today, I just wanted to talk about the season so far and give my thoughts on it. I won't really be talking about Xianhu, as I posted a video on them a few days ago, so feel free to check that out if you haven't. But it seems like everyone is saying just about the same things about them, with a few things being different of course, but it's mainly a lot of the same. I reached Rep 8 with them, and at this point, I don't want to play them anymore. People have started to figure out the character, and I'm hoping that Yubi has something in the works for Xianhu. Anyways, I'm not going to get into that now. I just want to talk about a few other things regarding this season. As usual, if you do watch these videos somewhat regularly, I'd appreciate if you sub to the channel, as it really helps me out, and feel free to join our Discord if you wish to talk about the game or just hang out. The link will be in the description. And finally, forgive me for my voice if I sound sick, just bear with me for a little bit. It's winter time. Now let's not waste any more time and get right into it. This season has felt pretty tame, at least when compared to some of the previous seasons in this game. I haven't seen too many people yelling or fighting with each other about what's new this season or what's changed this season, and I'll get into that a little later in the video, but it feels like a pretty mild season. Nothing too strong has reared its head, at least from what we know of right now. The new hero isn't too strong, Hot Topic heroes were nerfed, the heroes that were buffed didn't receive anything too crazy. It's just been a pretty easygoing season so far. Not that that's really a bad thing, but I think that this season will start to feel a little samey, a little stale, especially since Xianhu isn't blowing anyone away. So starting off with Raider, my thoughts haven't really changed since the season reveal when they let us know what was going to happen to Raider. The damage nerfs are just fine. I don't think anyone really has a problem with that. It's something a whole lot of us wanted for a while now, and they did it. The Stunning Tap nerf is what really caught everyone's eye. Stunning Tap was taken out back and put down, and Storming Tap emerged, and I was honestly confused when I first got hit by a Storming Tap because I'm so used to the stun. And without the stun, everything after the tap is pretty easy to deal with. Any follow-up light is really easy to deal with, and it feels like you've just sort of gone back to neutral after getting hit with it, except for some damage values and a higher damage zone in play now. It's nowhere near as good as it was, and Raider's pressure is weakened. As I said before, I really thought Yubi would have done anything else than actually remove the stun from Stunning Tap, as that's one of the reasons it was good in the first place. I personally wanted that hideous animation to be smoothed out and worked on, and then they could have worked on some of the other aspects of the attack, like some numbers or the stun itself, but instead they just made it a jerky looking soft feint that always comes from one side. When I talked about this before, there were people who were unhappy with me for not being absolutely geeked about this nerf, but I don't know. It sort of feels like they took the easy way out with this one and just did what would make the move as easy to deal with as possible without just removing it. It, along with a few other changes this season, just felt pretty tame, really safe, almost like they wanted to avoid any major backlash. He can still do sort of the same thing as before. He's still got good stuff, he's just less effective. But hey, it's here now. Let's see if anything else happens as we move forward. Now on to Hitokiri. Hitokiri hasn't been nuked like some people were saying. I still believe Hitokiri is a good hero and can still take people out on their own if their opponent gets caught in their kick mix, but I'd be lying if I said that the changes aren't noticeable. The hyper armor being moved to 500 milliseconds and only applying during the strike portion of the attack has been pretty apparent both while using them and going up against them. You don't have to worry about Hitokiri trading with you all the time, but now, as I said a while ago, I still don't know why they moved it back to 500 milliseconds instead of 400. When they mentioned that they were looking at Yorm and seeing how his armor worked, I was almost certain that they changed Hitokiri to match Yorm's armor, as Yorm's armor starting at 400 milliseconds isn't that bad. But here we are. Hitokiri can still trade with people, but not in the same way she could, and I don't think anyone's upset with that. they can still get into their offense with variable timed heavies, and the endless myriad damage nerf isn't too big of a deal. The cooldown on Senbonzakura, the tier 4, is also a pretty nice change. It's one that I haven't noticed that much, as I'm not really paying attention to how many times Hitokiri throws out their tier 4 per game, and I don't play too much Breach anymore either, so I don't see its effects too much. Now, one of my favorite changes this season came to Yorm and Black Prior. They had their light attack opener recoveries branch into their bashes at 266 milliseconds instead of 200. This allows players who buffered a stance change after being hit to dodge their bashes. I love this. It feels so good to be able to dodge those chain bashes consistently. Of course, because of this, I'm getting smacked by Black Prior's undodgeable heavy and Yorm's undodgeable light a lot more now, as I'm so used to just being caught by bashes, so I'm just mashing dodge. But still, it feels good to know that I can dodge these attacks much more consistently. Over this past week and a half, despite all the changes we received this season, this one is my favorite because it finally arrived. A neat little change that I've been noticing more and more is the change they made for people who join matches in progress. When you join a game that's already going on, the player who joins will get the renown of the lowest renown player in the game. This is such a nice quality of life change, so that when I join a game, I can be of more help to my teammates, or if my bot gets replaced or something as they're capturing a point all alone, at least I know that the player that's replacing that bot will at least have some progress toward their first feat, or even have their first feat depending on how the game is going and how long it's been going on for. It's really nice when I'm playing a hero like Yorm, whose first feat allows him to survive for much longer. This is a change I personally didn't see anyone asking for, so it's a nice surprise to me. The map changes are something I've hardly even mentioned. I only mention them in passing, but trust me, I really like them. I've talked about before how I'm not a huge fan of how many environmentals and obstacles there are on some of the maps, as some are there just to be there. The more they work on these maps, the more I enjoy playing on them. The Harbor received 2 changes. They added railings around the pit of the middle of A and Dominion so that only one side is open, and they removed that flaming pile that was just chilling on C. I personally didn't really mind the fire pit on C, as I didn't get thrown into it too often, but it's nice that it's gone so that C is a little less cluttered, and now you're just watching your head from those 2 spots where opponents can drop on you. I really like the change at A though. You fight around that pit a lot, and having it open next to each entrance of the point was pretty annoying, as there were a few things that could just toss you in there. You could throw out a long recovery attack and get tossed. You could end up getting hit by an external unblockable during a team fight and get tossed. Shinobi could sneak in there and range guard break you and pull you in. That pit was just in the way. Having it open on one side is so much better, as now the entrances from the spawn aren't as dangerous and you can fight a bit more freely. If you enter the room from the left side, you can still fall off that short ledge, but that's not that big of a deal. Then there were changes to the Shard. I have a few friends that really dislike Shard and still dislike it despite the changes. I'm not a huge fan of how the map runs, but at least it got a few changes. On Shard, they removed one of the fire pits on B, and they removed the spikes that were against the back wall of A. I'm glad that they removed one of the fire pits on B, as they were just sort of there, and again clogged up the little arena that was down there. I'm surprised they didn't remove both of them, but I'm fine with getting rid of one. There's more space on either side of the arena. As for the spikes on A, they weren't really too problematic to me. I've died to them plenty of times, but I never found them to be too annoying because of their location and because there's space to get around it and fight away from it. I like the map changes, and I like that Ubi has actually been improving them over time, as each map they've worked on so far has played better, whether it be these maps or Overwatch and High Fort. While I'm on maps, real quick, the new Breach map is beautiful. Whether it's sunny or not, the map looks really good. It's definitely my favorite looking Breach map so far, as all 3 phases look really good, and the first gate looks awesome. I'd play it more, but Dominion is just what I enjoy most. Although I am glad that the Wulin finally got a map. I really do hope that we get a map just like that in Dominion one day. And that was just about everything I wanted to talk about. That was most of the stuff that affects me when I play anyways, and what I notice most. Sure, Orochi got buffed and people make jokes about it as it wasn't a major change, but at this rate, it's better than nothing at all. Anyways, that's all I've got for this video. I just wanted to talk about this season for a little bit, as we've had about a week and a half to play it. Overall, this season's been alright so far. There's still a lot of time left in the season and there's stuff to look forward to. There's the mid-season event that'll be going down next month. There's the mid-season patch that I'm assuming UB will drop again. And then there's what I'm looking forward to the most. Some sort of announcement on what's going on next. Now that we've received all the Year 3 heroes, I'm pretty eager to figure out what's going on next. I think we'll get another year of content, but we'll just have to wait and see. Anyways, I do want to know what you guys think, so be sure to talk to me down in the comments about anything we talked about in this video. And as always, if you liked the video, feel free to leave a like and sub if you're new, and I will talk to you guys in the next video.